Alright, hey guys. How's everyone doing? So, today we're gonna check out this neat little game. I actually stumbled upon it really for the first time when I was in Hamlet. Uh it's a really goofy fun game. It's called To Be or Not to Be. I think it's based off of a book. Don't don't quote me on that because I don't actually know. But basically what happens is it's like a choose your own adventure take on Hamlet. And you get to play as Hamlet Senior, Hamlet, or Ophelia. I said maybe Laertes too, but I don't think so, just because that didn't seem to lend up to snuff. Plus, the select screen only has 3 characters, so unless Laertes is like a secret character or whatever, doesn't exactly shake out that well. But, you know, it is what it is. And also, I was trying to set up, because apparently there's partial controller support for the game, but that doesn't exactly seem to exist, which is kind of interesting. Uh, trying to grab like, because the game will give you. There you go. I think we should be able to switch scenes now. Yeah, you see how it gives you the button prompt right there? It's like it wants you to check it out, like press an actual A button, but I had my DualSense hooked up to my PC, and for some reason the inputs didn't quite work out. But you know, it is what it is. So, let's get started, shall we? Uh, let's see if I can't get the music in, because it has this very nice, like, whimsical kind of music. Kind of hate it's like also blaringly loud in the ears, so I really hope that it's fine. Uh, hey, what's going on? Let me know let me know how that's coming out on your guys' end, because to me it's fine. It's a little loud, but overall it should be okay. Uh, yeah, let's just roll with that for right now. Uh, I'm gonna leave narration off. Oh, is that loud? Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'll turn down the desktop audio on OBS. That should be better. It's just kind of, it's really annoying. But if you do this game also in like a void, it kind of sucks too. But the narration's funny, but I kind of don't want this just to be a stream where I'm sitting around listening to narration for the whole time. But we can always try it with narration on to start and then go from there. Yeah, let's do that. Let me know if that turned down in OBS made it better. All right, sweet. So again, this is To Be or Not to Be. Choose your own adventure version of Hamlet. You can play as any of the three main characters of Hamlet. Hamlet Senior, Hamlet. Oh hey Brian, how's it going? Thanks for dropping by. Thanks for being my first viewer. I'm gonna hit you with hey guys in chat. You can either be Hamlet Senior, Hamlet, or Ophelia. You can do a bunch of wacky adventures. I've played about a half hour of it. I've only seen Hamlet Senior's story, so I'm going to start with that first, mainly because it kind of leads itself well into Hamlet's, and then from there we can go into Ophelia's. I don't know how far I'm going to be going, like this stream. I might play around, just see kind of where I get, if I get bored, or if it just doesn't go over too well. Yeah, I mean, I've talked enough. Let's get started. Do I want to enable narration? Yeah, sure. So we can toggle narration anytime. Achievements and art still unlock while narration is enabled, but notifications will not be displayed. Thanks. And then there's this wacky splash screen. This is incredible. The art in this game is ridiculously silly, too. And there'll be a lot of art pieces throughout the whole thing. There's a lot of pieces.
William Shakespeare, 1564 AD to whenever he died, was well known for borrowing from existing literature when writing his plays. Romeo and Juliet is pretty much lifted entirely from Arthur Brooks' poem, The Tragical History of Romulus and Juliet. Dude didn't even change the names. And as recent Shakespeare scholarship has established, the famed play William Shakespeare Presents Hamlet was lifted wholesale from the volume you are about to enjoy, To Be or Not to Be. To Be or Not to Be is both the earliest recorded example of the books as game genre, as well as the first instance ever in the then newish English language that was kicking around of an adventure being chosen by you, the reader. We've gone ahead and added illustrations, plus we've taken the liberty of marking with tiny York skulls the choices Shakespeare himself made when he plagiarized his book back in olden times. They're there in case you wish to put yourself in Shakespeare's shoes, reading this book as he did, stealing plot elements wholesale, and classing up the language as he/you went/go. However, that is not the only way to read this book. Feel free to explore your other options, as each time you read this book, you can go on a different adventure. Assuming you don't read the book like 3 quadrillion times, at which point the adventures will start to repeat, and they'll probably seem pretty familiar long before then anyway. Now, take yourself back to history, when ghosts walked the earth and nobody knew velociraptors were even a thing. Steel yourself to experience the magic of Shakespeare as it was meant to be experienced, in a non-deterministic narrative structure, where you end up thinking maybe you made a wrong decision, so you mark the pages you were just on, so you can always go back and make a different choice if you die for some dumb reason. To be or not to be, that is the adventure.
And that's something we have to note.
Man, what if I just read the acknowledgements instead?
I think I might actually turn narration off, because it also ends up auto-advancing the text. The controls options menu is very, very bare bones. Plus, I'm not sure how well that narration's coming through on the other side. Like, to me, it's fine. It's a little quiet, but I also kind of just think the stream will be more interesting if I have narration off. But you guys let me know. Yeah, you know what? We'll turn narration off for right now. Mainly just, I think it's a more interesting experience. And we'll go from there. Yeah, you know what? You're right. I am playing. It's gonna do this spiel for us again. So yeah, These skull indicators are basically what they want us to be doing. So, we've just been born. Congrats. Good work on doing that thing. Now, surprise, babies are boring, so we're just gonna jump ahead in time to a point where you're an adult and you've already lived a bunch of your life. But I promise, most of what we're skipping over was really dull. You ate a lot, slept a lot, made some friends, tears were shed, makeouts were totally had, etc. It's a bunch of high school stuff. The awesome stuff starts now. So, let's start. Remind me again who you are? Can't believe we got freaking Professor Oak as our narrator. Are we Ophelia? She's an awesome lady in her late 20s with a calm, competent, and resourceful demeanor. She's got a +1 to science, but she's also got a -1 weakness against water, so heads up. Hamlet, he's an emo teen in his early 30s. Also, he's the Prince of Denmark. He has a +1 resistance to magic, but there is no magic in this adventure, so this never gets mentioned again, as of right now. He looks surprisingly like me, doesn't he? Sort of. Except I wish my chin was like that rugged. And then Hamlet Senior? He's the king of Denmark, 50 years old, super good at fighting and leading men into battle, and naps. Let's say +1 to each. Look, bottom line, he's an unstoppable machine of death, and should you choose to be him, you may experience kingly glory. I think he's gonna die early on. Let's start. So, like I said, it wants you to pick Hamlet because all the Yorick skulls are the canonical choices. But I'm going to choose Hamlet Senior just for the start, and then it'll lead us into Hamlet. But even once we get to that transition, I might head back and start as Hamlet again, just because I think he might have different story routes. So, let's get started as Hamlet Senior. We are King Hamlet. All of Denmark is under our control. Everything's going so great for you. At present, you're in Norway, where just this afternoon you led Denmark's forces to an astounding victory during which you personally killed the Norwegian king. Stabbed him right through the head, you did. His eye popped out and rolled on the ground, and then you stepped on it. I can't see him doing that. Whoa! Your ass is bad. You are a badass. You decide after a day of being good at fighting, you should have a nap. You earned it. You settle down in an orchard for some nappy times. During your delightful rest, your brother pours some poison in your ear, and you die. Well, that's a good start. Hey! We got an achievement, not to be. I think we solved that question pretty easily, huh? Let's revel in our achievement for a second. Surprise! You didn't know poisons worked that way. Wow, you barely made one choice so far and you're dead already. Way to go, champ. You're really good at books, huh? It's just a stellar job you're doing reading here, Chuckles. The end. Well, that's the end of the stream. Thank you so much for coming down. Nah. That's us. Yep, you're probably wondering how I got into this situation. Hey, we found a piece of artwork. We can view it at any time in the art gallery. Okay, fine. I feel sorry for you. Here's a choice that you can choose. Either we become a ghost, or we do not become a ghost. Let's see, do we get a checkpoint here? I don't think we do. If you want us to complete the speed run, we can choose not to become a ghost, and then the game just straight up ends. which I think is goofy. Plus, we're not too far in. Let's not become a ghost. I mean, why should we have any kind of drama? We died. Let's just move on. It's not gonna become a ghost. You choose non-existence over being able to float and have spooky powers. Wasn't even a good one, but it's the last decision you ever make. Until you play this book again, that is. The end. P.S. I hope you do play this book again, because there's more to it than dying like an ultra chump in the first 2 turns. I promise. Alright, time. I think that was about a 5-minute run. We can do better. Though I leave the mortal realm with business unfinished, I refuse to linger on as a mere shadow of my corporeal self. There is no desire in my heart to tarry here beyond death. If I cannot march onward as flesh and bone, then I would rather cease it to exist at all. I hereby shed all bonds to this world and disappear now into the void of sexy ghost beach volleyball tournament. Wait, no, undo. I meant to say that being a ghost is super cool, and that I want to stay, and poof. Kind of brings ghost busting into a whole new light. Oh yeah, that was the alive side of the speedrun. This is the end of the dead side of the speedrun. This is really the optimal choice here. Hey, we found a piece of artwork. It's time for the Hamlometer. Game over. Stats for this adventure: poisons misused 1, 5 choices made. I was 0 times, and I was not twice. Didn't play any games of tennis. Let's restart. Gotta start back from choosing the character. The checkpoints kind of suck in this game, which is one of my big complaints. But I generally think it's more fun to choose the really wonky options. Plus, we have a little fast forward button down here in the corner. So Hamlet Senior, working Hamlet, blah 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 blah. We got some poison in the ear. We got our ghost. Alright, so we chose not to become a ghost, and that ended our playthrough very quickly. So let's become a ghost and see how that works out. Good news! The afterlife exists, and it's full of ghosts. You know this because you're now one of them. You get to spend all your time slamming doors, rattling chains, and telling on the person who killed you. But here's the thing. I, the author, told you, the reader, that your brother poured poison in your ear while you napped. But you, as Hamlet Sr., have no idea how you died. You slept through the whole thing. So you need to figure out who killed you if you're going to revenge yourself on your murderer, assuming you even were murdered. Because remember that for all you know, you could have died of a heart attack. This is an example of dramatic irony, since only since we're in the second person, it's an amazing example of an entirely new species of dramatic irony. Something I'm going to call second person pronoun paradoxical autodramatic irony. Hope you're taking notes because it's going to be on the exam. I think Tony wants to bring this up at some point, so he's going to try to work it through me and try to work this into the GAM thinking Shakespeare classes. I know this because he told me. You are now aware of information that you're not aware of. This should be fun. Hey, we invented a new kind of irony. So should we accept that we died of a heart attack? That's probably going to end the game. Or listen in on people's conversations and see if any of them talk about how they totally killed you. Yeah, the next GAM show is just this. Actually, it would probably be really funny to try to adapt this onto the stage. Just a bunch of like false starts and stops as all the different characters. I think that would be actually kind of entertaining to watch. As long as you find a nice balance between iambic pentameter and also this. Uh, hmm. Well, what's the first thing I'd want to do as a ghost? I think I'd want to listen in on some people's conversations. Uh, I think as Hamlet Senior, I'm not gonna see if anyone killed me, but I kind of want to see what happens. So let's do that. You hang around Norway for a bit, trying to listen in on what people are saying, but they're all speaking Norwegian. That's a problem. You only speak Danish, so understanding Norwegian is a little difficult. It all sounds like Swedish to you, which actually makes a lot of sense since Danish, Norwegian, and Swedish are all related North Germanic languages, descended from early linguistic differentials between regular Germanic speaking and North Germanic speakers around 200 AD. See, look, we're learning something. You want to find the other 90%, 98% of the milk if you were a ghost? Look, I think the 98% moved on. It's no longer lingering. You nod your head, agreeing that all of this is both accurate and extremely interesting. While these three languages are generally supposed to be mutually intelligible, you find you can understand Norwegian speakers only if you're concentrating, which you are, and if they're speaking slowly and clearly, which they're not, as everyone's running around upset about war and all these kings getting killed. I know, we're like 20 minutes into the stream and there's 2 kings dead already. Ironically, Norwegian speakers can understand Danish easier than Danish speakers understand Norwegian. But that doesn't help you much. Great, what are we going to do? That would only be useful if you were playing as a Norwegian king whose ghost had stowed away on your army's boat headed back to Denmark. But I haven't given you that option, even though it would be extremely awesome. If you're wondering what happens to this vengeful ghost king, I can tell you only this. The answer exists in your imagination? But here's the good news. Turns out written Danish and written Norwegian are actually pretty similar. Well, that's convenient, isn't it? It kind of seemed like our adventure was going to stop before it even started and we still have a sun to find. So you spend the next several nights haunting people, quietly reading their diaries while they sleep peacefully in their beds. You discover all sorts of weird fetishes that the Norwegian army is into. And you don't know this, but ghosts do this all the time. Ghosts just love sneaking a peek at the secrets of the living. Hope you're not trying to keep any secrets around here, Brian. Takes a while, but you finally find the diary of someone who wrote on the day you died that she was wandering by a garden, minding her own business. Here we go. When she saw some Danish guy pour something in some other Danish guy's ear. Oh, that was just, 2 Vikings horsing around having a good time. It's 2 Danish guys poisoning each other in the middle of Norway. I mean, that's not enough. It's not enough to go off of at all. Hey, that sounds like what could happen to you. But remember, you don't know that's you. You don't know that's exactly what happened to you because of that new irony that we invented. Hmm. So should we wake up this person up and ask her about it? Or wake up this person and hold up a piece of paper where you've written down a question asking her about it? Should we hold up a haunted shopping list, or should we try to communicate from beyond? Hmm. I think option 2 is funnier, but I also don't know how people will react in the middle of the night to something just randomly floating in the air. You know what? I think in this kind of game, you want to do the funny choices. So let's see if we can get the haunted shopping list to try and tell us what's going to happen. And I hope this goes well. Otherwise, the Ghostbusters are going to come in. You grab a piece of paper and write down the words, "Hey, I'm not here to kill you. I just want to know about that murder you maybe witnessed." But in Danish, of course. You gently shake the woman awake while holding the piece of paper up in front of her. She's freaked out initially. She was just woken up by a ghostly apparition from beyond the grave. But when she reads your note, she looks at you suspiciously and says, "For real?" You flip over the paper and write, "Yeah, I'm the guy that got killed, maybe, and I guess I want to revenge my death or whatever. But please speak slowly, as Norwegian is not my native language. I'm from Denmark." You know, it's really nice that ghosts write in all caps like this. "Oh," the woman says in Danish. "I speak Danish too." What can we have just started there? "Kick ass," you reply. She tells you what she saw and gives you a physical description of the guy. Unfortunately, the man answering to her description could only be one person. Your brother, Claudius. Dun dun dun. What an unexpected twist. Congratulations, my king. You now know what you know, so that whole second person pronoun paradoxical auto dramatic irony thing, that has been slain. Now we no longer have to worry about SPPPADI, spatty, spapapatty. Just rolls off the tongue. 500 experience. New quest. Revenge yourself on Claudius. You're feeling pretty chuffed about this whole situation. Alright, let's revenge your death. Your murderer is getting away with it in Denmark. Okay. Now, should we swim back to Denmark? Or should we wait for the next boat back to Denmark? I mean, we're a ghost. It's kind of hard to line up when the right boat times are coming. But also, swimming back to Denmark might take a long time. Again, I think the funnier answers usually end up winning out in these choose your own adventure games. So, with all that being said, it's time for the ghost of Hamlet Sr. to swim back to Denmark. Hell yeah, brother. It's like 200 kilometers between the two nations. You know that, right? Apparently not. So you start to swim back to Denmark, but it's a lot of work to keep your body corporeal so that you can swim. So eventually, you get tired and stop. For a while, you float above the water, but that gets boring, so for most of the journey, you float down to the ocean floor and travel along it. Hey, there's a sunken pirate ship here. Hey, there might be treasure in it. Hell yeah, we're playing Uncharted now. Examine the pirate ship or just arrive in Denmark? Well, we found a pirate ship. We have to look at it, right? Man, it's awesome. And it's so cool to be an underwater explorer who doesn't need to breathe. I mean, it's kind of hard to see things without a light source, but your ghostly body glows a little when you want it to, so it's not bad. The pirate ship itself seems recently sunk. There are bodies trapped below decks, and Yeah, that's unpleasant. The ocean bacteria haven't really started decomposing them yet. Bodies, man. Being corporeal, man. I don't know. What can you do? It's really ghosts having supernatural powers. They are really just the alpha race. Probably shouldn't say that on Twitch. You find the treasure room, and it's empty. Seems like this ship was attacked, raided, and then sunk. Somewhere up above your head, sailing on the surface of the great ocean Atlantic, is a really tough pirate ship that's just looking for treasure and slash or trouble. Too bad you're already dead, huh? But even if you were alive, what does a ghost need with money anyway? So I guess this has kind of been a pointless, but still awesome endeavor. You explored the ocean bottom and found a sunken ship. Don't let anyone tell you that's not awesome. Alright. After several more days of very slow travel that we just skipped over because it got boring, you saw a couple fish, a couple turtles, there was one funny guy on a fishing boat. You're back on Denmark shores. Under the sea. Explored a sunken ship as a ghost. Found a lot of treasure that we couldn't do anything with, unfortunately. Hmm. Should we arrive in Denmark? Or, you know what? Let's go back and explore the ocean some more. The ocean rules. I want to see where... Does it give me new... Alright. Which Hamlet Senior experiences the afterlife. So I don't think we're too far back in our... Alright. Man, it's awesome. So cool to be underwater. Blah, 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 blah. You know what? We don't need to start the plot of Hamlet, do we? Let's just go explore the ocean. It does kind of rule, huh? You realize that, wow, there's a lot of stuff down on the ocean floor that no living human eyes have ever seen. And while your dead ghost eyes won't actually change that fact, there's still a lot of cool stuff to explore. You eventually travel all the way to the Mariana Trench, the very deepest part of the ocean, over 547 fathoms below sea level. Here the water above presses down at over 1,000 times standard atmospheric pressure, and the temperature is just above freezing. There are weird animals here, which are honest-to-God single-celled organisms, so big you can see them with your bare eyes. Why, here's one that's over 10 centimeters long. This is nuts. This whole place is nuts. And you're learning so much. You give up on your revenge plan and instead devote your afterlife to being a marine biologist and oceanic cartographer. And it turns out, ghost marine biology is pretty advanced. Me during the Hamlet section of theater history. Yeah, then Hamlet Sr. became a pirate, right? Yeah, I mean, we explored the sunken... Hamlet Sr. explored a sunken pirate ship, and then he became a ghost marine biologist. It's all there in the text, you just have to, like, look a bit closer. It really is not that hard to analyze. And it turns out ghost marine biology is pretty advanced compared to alive human marine biology, due in no small part to how you can hang around on the ocean floor for as long as you want and can't die. Nevertheless, you write several seminal ghost books on the subject, including "Look at this weird bug thing I found," and "Gross, Life on the Ocean Floor," and make many hundreds of thousand ghost dollars. Yo, we can buy followers, guys. That's hella pog. Hell yeah, brother. Oh, nope. Guess we can't anymore. Although it's kind of sad because, I mean, a viewer's a viewer, right? Uh, where were we? I was gonna make a joke about ghostwriting. Like, do you think Hamlet Senior's ghost has a ghostwriter for all of his papers, or nah? The end. That's just beautiful. This just goes to show you that all those revenge plots, like all the murder stuff like that, you don't need it. Just become a ghost and walk on the floor. I also find it funny that throughout this, we traveled from the Baltic Sea all the way to the Pacific Ocean, just walking around and talking while Hamlet's off doing Lord knows what. Yeah, isn't that very wholesome? We're done. We're good. Alright, let's see where we are in the Hamlet meter. We're not to be. So, I glossed over it last time, but basically this Hamlet meter, I think it's supposed to measure how close your choices are to the actual Hamlet, or it's supposed to be something about like how long you've been going to. We're not going to score high as Hamlet Senior just because he doesn't have that many choices. But yeah, we're not to be. Game over. Stats disadventure, 1 misused poison, 7 choices. We were not once. Alright, let's go back. In which we experience the afterlife. Afterlife exists, you're full of ghosts. We did this choice last time, and before we get back to where we want to go, let's just accept we died of a heart attack. You know, there's no murder involved. That was another timeline that we got murdered in. We just had a heart attack, you know, we ate too much. Probably, you say out loud to nobody in particular, probably I just died of a heart attack. Yes, there's definitely no foul play to investigate here. You're not that curious about the circumstances of your own death, but there's certainly room for incurious people in the afterlife. You, for example, spend the rest of your afterlife, which is forever, training little ghost puppies how to be better dogs. And they're all so cute and they stay puppies forever and never grow up, but just get better and better and cuter, and oh my gosh, it's so adorable. The end. Look at the little puppies that we're training. You know, some of the quality of art kind of changes a lot. We had some really nice painted stuff, and now we just have like this black and white sketch of training ghost dogs. Not that there's anything wrong with ghost dogs, but I think we could have had some cooler, like, Technicolor stuff. New artwork. Blah, blah, blah. Hamlet meter. Times borrowing / lending. Alright, let's get back on track. Afterlife exists. We're full of ghosts. Listen on people's conversations. You know, Danish, Norwegian, and Swedish are all very different but similar. Let's wake her up and ask her about our murder this time. You bang some pots and pans together until she wakes up. Hey, I'm a ghost, but not of anyone you know. Listen, tell me more about that garden murder you saw, you say. In response, the woman looks at you terrified. She says something in Norwegian, and you suddenly feel dumb. You're already a spooky ghost, but now you're a spooky foreign ghost talking to her in a language she doesn't even know. If any foreign spooky ghosts show up to you, make sure you run. Anyway, by the time you find a piece of paper and write down, "Hey, I don't want to kill you," it's too late. The woman has run out of the room. And every time she sees you, she gets mad and throws something at you and leaves. You kind of blew it here, King Hamlet. Keep reading her diary every night for a few months, hoping that she'll mention more about the things she saw. But it's mostly filled with some really personal stuff about her feelings, and you kind of feel honestly creepy about this whole situation. The stuff isn't personal is about how she wonders if ghosts read diaries, and if they do, if they know what totally awful people they're being. Long story short, eventually you leave her alone, never find out who murdered you, and settle down in a nice, pleasant afterlife with the other ghosts in Ghost Norway. You guys do charades with each other and everything. It's pretty fun. Yo, I can't believe they're having ghost cast parties. The end. I don't know about you guys, but this is kind of my sleep paralysis demon. Be very, very careful. You don't want that showing up to you at the middle of the night. Congratulations, artwork. Bad Hamlet meter. We made 2 choices this time. Alright. Let's get back on track with what the actual plot is. Good news, Afterlife exists. We're one of them. We're gonna listen in on people, but we don't understand them because we're Danish and they're speaking Norwegian. It sounds Swedish. Hold up a piece of paper. Plot twist, she speaks Danish. We swam back to Denmark last time. Let's wait for the next boat back to Denmark. You go down to the docks and start poking your head into the bridge of every boat you find, flipping through the captain's logs and itineraries until you find one that's headed for Denmark. And it leaves in just a few minutes. Nice, this is really convenient. During the voyage, you poke around on the boat looking for things to amuse yourself with. You experiment with doing some ghost things like putting your head inside a barrel of wine and then making your head corporeal. But that just causes the barrel to explode with the sudden pressure inside and makes you get wine in your eyes. So you don't do that more than a few times. I mean, doing it a few times is basically just an average Friday night, right? I mean, why not just stick your head in a barrel of wine a couple times? It only takes a while before your boat arrives in Denmark. And here was that choice. Arrive in Denmark. You make it back to Denmark. First thing you want to do is track down your brother to take revenge. Turns out, that's really easy, because he's in the first place you check, the royal court. He's there with your widow, Gertrude. Oh, that's nice. Weird. They're acting all close and stuff. Oh well, he's probably just trying to comfort her after your untimely death. Brothers are really great. Though, maybe not? Should we listen out on what they're saying, or ignore what they're saying? I'm certain there's nothing untoward going on. We're in Denmark. We're not in Alabama. Hmm. Let's see. You know what? Let's just hang on before I make a choice. I want to see where I'm at. One of my complaints with this game, and I'm sure some of you guys are feeling it right now just from watching me explore all these other choices, is that it's not liberal with checkpoints, and also there's no save option. So if you want to explore like all the goofy options, it takes a really long time. Like if we wanted to pick something goofy, we would have to go all the way back And I mean, we know what choices to take at this point. We've seen everything else. But it's still just annoying. But this game's also $5 only on Steam. So it's not that big of a deal. Uh, let's listen in on what they're saying. I want to hear my wife's voice again. Hey Gertrude, says Claudius. I sure am happy that we married each other, even if it was so soon after your first husband died under mysterious circumstances. Whoa, that certainly was, in terms of exposition, a very efficient sentence. Kids, if you want to tell plot to your audience, just have one of your characters say it randomly out of the blue. Say things that your character should already know. I mean, they should already know that they're married. I mean, that stuff happens all the time. You decide instantly that your initial revenge plan, haunt a mirror so that instead of Claudius's reflection, he sees you, and then you mirror his movements so he's not really sure what's going on. It's just a prank, bro. Is needlessly complex and stupid. Dude killed you and married your widow. Since you're from olden times and not from Alabama, you have an extremely old-fashioned sense of ownership over female sexuality. So this really gets stuck in your craw. What's a craw? Might be like stuck up your ass. That might be what they're saying. Oh, craw is the stomach of a person or an animal. So, the more you know. Might not be an iambic, but we're still learning something. Instead of spooking Claudius, you decide to kill Claudius, complete the quest, or get your son to kill Claudius instead. I mean, who wouldn't make their son take revenge for them, right? That's really weird. Like, why would I come all this way back to Denmark just to get my son to kill my own brother? Who comes up with this shit, huh? Let's kill Claudius. Complete the quest. This is awesome. It's gonna go great, cause who better to know how to kill someone than someone who has recently been through that getting killed to death process themselves. You wait until Claudius is sleeping next to your widow, and then wake him up by tapping him on the forehead a bit. Hey, it's me, you whisper. Your brother, the one you murdered? Ugh, crap, Claudius whispers back. Ghosts are real? Real pissed at you, anyway, you reply. Listen, I'll cut to the chase. We're from a time where an eye for an eye is considered to be a good thing to build a justice system around. So I'm here to kill you. How? Claudius asks, his eyes wide, terrified. Oh, jeez. So many ways, you say, counting them off your fingers. I mean, suffocation, extreme... Sorry, my nose is kind of stuffy right now. Suffocation, extreme cock and ball torture. I could send you down to that cool pirate ship I found earlier. How do you feel about excessive cringe humor? I could startle you and make you have a heart attack, but that takes time. I could throw a pot at your head until you die, but that lacks grace. Instead, check this out. You move your ghost body so it's floating right above Claudius. He stares at you, his eyes wide. I'm sorry, he whispers. Way too late for that, you reply. You lower yourself to him, face to face, and keep going. Eventually, you guys start making out. It's kind of a weird turn for this story to go to, but that's okay. His face dominates your field of vision, and then you're inside his skull, inside the pink of his brain, his blood darkly obscuring your sight. You sink slowly deeper and deeper into him. Ugh. How do I set an 18 plus rating on a stream? Brian, if you know how to do that, just let me know at some point. So we're going deeper and deeper into our brother, weird, lining up your ghost body with his regular body until you're just about occupying exactly the same space. Oh, that's fine. Then, you make yourself corporeal. What happens next happens so quickly and with such force that it's hard to describe. But Claudius explodes everywhere, captures most of it. I mean, you're fine, but man, is this disgusting. Literally disgusting. Gertrude wakes up, dripping in gore, screaming. You, my friend, have achieved revenge. You roll over onto your back and apologize to Gertrude. You explain over her screams what happened, and you tell her that you still love her even though she married your brother mere weeks after you died. It's good to know, we're the kind of accepting guy who really just lets things roll off our back. Who cares that our widow got married to our brother who murdered us? Let's not forget that we were murdered. We still love her, even though she married our brother. You just don't make wholesome relationships like this anymore. But you can't be with her anymore, you say. You tell her you need to go find your own path. Sorry about the bed, you say, floating up through the roof. You spend the rest of the afterlife acting as an immortal judge from beyond the grave, exploding those who have committed the most egregious crimes, merely blowing the hands off those who have been awful people, but still, you feel, deserve a second chance. Hell yeah, brother. People whisper your name in fear. Criminals are a cowardly, superstitious lot, after all. And it works out pretty good for you. Do a lot of good for a lot of people. And yep, turns out that blowing up bad guys never does get old. The end. Well, I think we found the good ending today, huh? I mean, exploding criminals, that does not get old. That's, it's looking kind of sus there. There's Claudius's arm on the floor, his leg on the wall, and there's a little bit of him all over the place. There's a little bit of Claudius in all of us now after this. It's a little disturbing, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Hey, congrats. Assassin's Adventure, 6 choices. Alright, we should probably get to the actual canon plot. Blah, 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 blah. Listen in. Hold down the note. Go back to Denmark. You know what? Let's ignore what they're saying. I mean, there's nothing going on that's weird between them. Using spooky ghost powers, you completely ignore what Gertrude and Claudius say to each other. That evening, you try to revenge yourself on Claudius by spooking him. The problem is, he never looks in any of the mirrors you're haunting. He just assumes wind is knocking over his pots. And he thinks that ghostly wailing from beyond the grave is probably just a sick dog outside who's having a pretty rough go of it lately. Wow, me IRL. This spooking him isn't going well, man. I don't know what to tell you. You have to find your revenge some other way. Maybe by killing him? Reflecting on the fact that he did kill you, you decide the only suitable revenge is to kill him as well, because why not? You could totally take him. Especially since you've already died once, and live to talk about it. But who's best suited to do the killing? You could do it, but you did have a son, partly so you wouldn't have to do every single thing around here. So we already did this. That was when we exploded him, and it was very heavy metal. So I guess we're gonna get our son to kill Claudius. Oh. The game doesn't like that. Okay. Why? I think this brings us back. So any negative choice from here will just bring us back to that ending we already saw. Not that it wasn't, like, a really good ending, but because then he'll have sullied his hands with murder, and better for someone new to be forced to commit the murder act than for me to do it myself for some reason. Okay. Well, I did promise that you'd get to make your own choices here, so that's what you do. You decide you're going to get Hamlet to do a murder for you, even though that's awful. That's awful, dude. Listen, hypothetical question. Let's say you do that and Hamlet is eventually successful and you're revenged. What would you do then? What would you do with your afterlife if revenge was no longer its driving force? List of hypothetical afterlife career choices. Here's everything we can do after we graduate from Revenge University in the afterlife. Accountant? Actor, amusement park employee, animal husbandry, animator, architect, athlete, bakery employer, bouncer, brewmaster, cake decorator, chef, comic book artist, counselor, cowboy, uh, engineer, explorer, firefighter, food critic, game tester, geologist, librarian, linguist, long haul trucker, makeup artist, marine biologist. You know, that marine biology thing doesn't sound all that bad. Mechanic, musician, painter, personal trainer, photographer, physician, pilot, policy analyst, professional gambler, professional golfer, programmer, researcher, restaurateur. Jesus Christ, this list keeps going on forever. Roller coaster derby, sex worker, skateboarder, spy, tamer of ghost dinosaurs, travel writer, watchmaker, water slide builder, water slide tester, welder, window cleaner, writer. What's our checkpoints? I think I think Ghost Hamlet or Hamlet Senior only has one checkpoint, which really sucks. But you know what? I'm not here to consider life-affirming hypotheticals. I'm here to see my son murder a man. That's what I said. That's what I signed up for. Okay, right, but here's the thing. I'm not super cool with having to go through this whole adventure with you, in which you induce your only son to commit a murderous act of revenge on your behalf when you're already dead anyway. It's kinda awful. So if you want to tell Hamlet to go kill his stepfather, you can. In fact, look, you just did. Hey, we're in Act 1, Scene 5 already. But now you're going to have to live with the consequences as the man who you just induced to murder. Hey, we're now Hamlet. How's that taste, bucko? Now you have to go do a murder. Because I want to go back and do Hamlet's side from the beginning, I'm going to choose, but I don't want to be my son. I want to be a ghost. Listen, King Hamlet, you already had your chance to be a ghost, and you pretty much wasted it. And now you don't want to do the dirty work of revenge? Fine. You know what? Fine. Go off and have your own adventure. See if I care. Here we go. Just fill in the blanks. Whee, what fun. You are the ghost of a dead king. You discover a blank kind of blank that can be used by blank to blank a giant blank. Things are really blank for a while, but then they blank into blank. A side effect of your blank is that you come back to life again, with a brand new blank and everything. Then you die again super quickly. It's very blank. After you die again, your body is blank into a blank, turned into a pickle, and then turned again into a terrible pickle Rick, so that everyone can laugh until they cry. The end. P.S. for that last paragraph, may I suggest you fill it in with installed, steel colossus, magnified, city-sized monstrosity, toil at its feet, and realize they shouldn't have honored your last wishes. After you die again, your body is installed into a steel colossus and then magnified into a terrible city-sized monstrosity so that everyone can toil at its feet and realize they shouldn't have honored your last wishes. Huh. There you go. I hope you guys are taking notes for when your teachers ask you when does the giant steel monstrosity show up in Hamlet. You know, it's after King Hamlet induces Hamlet to revenge him, but then King Hamlet just wants to disappear. He then ends up becoming a Gundam, essentially. And that's what happens. It's all there in the text. It's all Old English, but you just have to look in there very closely and you'll find it. New artwork. Let's see where we landed. I think we're still low. Yeah, it's gonna stop up and then go down. Oh, yeah, not to be. Now, what's weird about this too is that stats, 9 choices, 1 Rosencrantzes, 1 Guildensterns, no borrowing and lending. Let's go back to choosing our character. Let's skip our childhood stuff. All right. So, I want to hear from you guys for a second. What do you think of this so far? Like, is the writing funny? Is it cringe? I think I thought it was funnier earlier on when I was actually in the show, but I still think some of the random stuff it does is kind of humorous. You think it's fun? I mean, like, that whole exploring a pirate ship sequence is extremely goofy, and I think as the first exposure to when I played this, it was like a very fun tone set. I think some of the technical things for the game hold it back, like as far as visual novels go, it's very bare bones. Which I guess, considering this is like a video game adaptation of a book, it's not terrible. But with a story as long as this, it's kind of interesting. Alright. Well, I think it's time that we play as the main man himself. Hope you're all taking notes, because we're going to start playing as Hamlet now. Hey! Hooray, to be he. I love getting achievements for just clicking a button. So we're Hamlet. You are Hamlet. You're 30 years old and you're back living at home. But it's okay, because your home is a castle. That's right, ladies. You're a prince. Things have been rough lately. You've been trying to focus on your studies at Wittenberg University, where you and your bros, Horatio, Rosencrantz, and Guildenstern all hang out. But you were called home because your father died. Then your dead dad's brother, Claudius, married your mom, Gertrude, 2 weeks later. Yep. It's made you kind of upset. You raced home to comfort her, but she's married your uncle, and that is weird. You feel weird. Right now, you're in the audience chamber of your father's castle, here in sunny Denmark. King Claudius is here addressing his court. Laertes and Polonius are here too. Laertes is kind of a jerk, and Polonius is his father. Polonius is also the father of Ophelia, whom you're totally sweet on. She's not here, though. Who knows what adventures she's having as we speak, while you're stuck in this drafty castle room listening to other people talk about their feelings. Speaking of speaking, just now Laertes says something about how now that Claudius is king and he's attended the coronation, is it okay for him to go back to France? Claudius says, sure. Wait a minute. You'd love to leave too and go back to school away from this weird ancestry thing your mother's gotten herself into. Oh, Incesty. Incestry's a website. It's one of those weird websites where you track lineage, except it's like oddly twisted. I don't know if I like where I'm going with this tangent, so I'm just gonna keep going. It's so gross and weird. Wherefore? Should we ask Claudius for permission to go back to school, or just hang around? Well, you know what they say. Good things come to those who wait, so let's just hold our tongue and wait around. You stay silent, but King Claudius addresses you anyway. He says he's king now, and it's time for you to stop mourning, as your father is dead, and everyone has to die sometime, right? As a side note, I think it's really interesting to see the... what's the word? The interpretations of the iambic pentameter speeches just summarized in a very goofy way. Man up, he says. Walk it off, he says. Drop me a letter about it at Not My Problem, number 1 Cheer Up Already Lane, Dobesville, Denmark, he says. Fucking roasted. Your mom agrees with him, and then when they're done insulting you, they leave. You kinda wish you'd insulted him when you had the chance. In the meantime, you're alone in an empty council room and feeling pretty sad. An empty room offers a ton of possibilities, which include things you can do inside this empty room, such as... what now? Talk to yourself about how your life just sucks and is in ruins and how everything sucks? Leave the room? Or you're finally home and it's been a week since you embarked. Sit on the throne as the Prince of Denmark. Well, talking to ourselves about how our life sucks is in the ruins is canonical. Leaving the room's kind of lame. Yo. There's a throne here. No one else is around. Let's sit on the throne. What? No. No, it is not doing what I think it's gonna do. Can you guys hear the beat that's kicked on right now? Alright. You sit on the throne, and since I like you, I'm going to describe your situation in rhyming verse. Oh god. Should I rap this? I think think I have to wrap it, right? Like, what would I be doing with my life if I didn't wrap it? Alright. Now this was gonna... Oh, no, it doesn't actually fit the meter. Now this is a story all about how your life got flipped, turned upside down, but instead you're just gonna sit your butt down in this chair and ignore how you're really Denmark's rightful heir. Okay. They missed such a solid opportunity here, but the joke reads, "Whoa, my flow is so awesome that it infects even you. You begin rapping to yourself about yourself. Here's the lyrical truth you lay down. In West Denmark was I born and raised. On the battlefield is where I spent most of my days. Chilling out with dad time, stabbing all the fools and all sword fighting Norwegians outside of my school. When a couple of armies, they were up to no good. Started repulsing our invasion of their neighborhood. Dad died one little time. My mom got scared and said, I'm marrying your dad's brother, but we weren't having an affair. I feel like you could keep spitting some extremely tight rhymes, but you also feel like you've brought yourself pretty much up to speed on your own life. Well done, Prince Hamlet. What was that line? Yo, Hamlet, smell you later. Describe Hamlet's situation in rhyming verse. What was that last line? Oh, I guess we'll never know what that last line was. Well, guess we're just gonna sit on the throne. While you're busy doing that, your friend Horatio bumps into you and tells you, A, he's in town for your dad's funeral / mom's wedding, and they serve leftover appetizers from one at the other. I'm actually really sad Dylan's not here right now. I don't know if I can tag someone who's not in my chat. No, I can't. Oh well. B, ghosts are real. C, he's seen one, and so have a bunch of other guys. D, it keeps showing up at the same time, and he's pretty sure it's the ghost of your dad. Finally, some adventure! Some closure! You agree that you'll come with him tonight to see the ghost when it shows up again. Such an obvious decision that it kind of feels like you don't even have a choice in the matter. Wherefore, agree to go with Horatio tonight to see the ghost when it shows up again. I'll be there. I'll be there. 11:30 sharp, you say, and Horatio leaves, satisfied. Well, now you have 8 hours to blow before it's time to meet ghosts. What do you want to do, Hamlet? Be Ophelia for a while? Or play solitaire? This would be the scene transition, so that's clever. But you know what? We're Hamlet. We're gonna play solitaire. You, Hamlet, Prince of all of Denmark, are now sitting in your bedroom and playing solitaire for hours and hours and hours and hours. Which is a pretty colossally useless waste of your time, especially since you keep cheating. A 5 goes on top of a 3, Hamlet. Really? Anyway, at this point, we're 15 games in, and wow, if you're not careful, people might start... Well, anyway, at this point, we're 15 games in, and wow, if you're not careful, people might start saying that your tragic flaw is, I don't know, inaction? No, no way. Inaction Man! Cheat at solitaire. Hell yeah. All I do is cheat, cheat, cheat no matter what. Beautiful. Isn't that wonderful? Hang on a second. Eventually, the sun does go down, and it's almost 11:30, which hopefully you remember as the appointed hour Horatio told you about, wherein a ghost keeps showing up to bother him. Time to go meet that ghost, huh? Meet up with Horatio and bust some myths about actual ghosts being real. You and Horatio go to where he saw the ghost the first time. Now we play the waiting game, says Horatio. He's interrupted by the sound of trumpets. You look at him and raise an eyebrow. They make that noise to warn everyone that King Claudius is getting wasted, he says. The trumpets go off every night around this hour. He sighs. Denmark, he says. At that exact moment, something insanely crazy happens. What the frig? It's good to know that this game that involves possession, explosions, and stuff has common decency to say what the frig. That's nice. I'll tell you what the frig is. A ghost is here. Look, ghost. Look, ghost. Don't freak out. But right now you're staring cold in the face of a specter. You can't even imagine how crazy this whole situation is. If you're getting too scared, read this next clause over and over until you're not insane with fear anymore. Everything will be okay. Alright. Okay, we can do this. With your last shred of sanity, you quickly glance at the ghost. And then you worry that if you stare at the ghost too hard, your brain will realize it's looking at something so insanely impossible that you'll just black out. Anyway, this ghost. You can see through it, but only a little? It's weird. And I'll tell you what the frig else. This ghost does look like your dad. And he's getting closer. What now? Stare at the ghost intently and black out as your mind shuts down? Don't stare at the ghost too intently and try to figure out what it wants, or run away. Ooh, that's tricky. Alright. Thanks for dropping in, Brian. Thank you for being here, like, really early on, too. It was nice to have a little bit of a captive audience to start with. Take it easy, buddy. Now what do we do? Should we stare at the ghost intently and black out? Don't stare at the ghost too intently or run. Do we have a checkpoint? In which Hamlet meets his goat's dad. Okay, we have one really close. So, I'm gonna do what probably anyone else would do in this situation. I'm gonna run away. Make a break for it, screaming like a little baby, and Horatio does the same. Holy cow, holy cow, holy cow, you say, jumping over a boulder and hiding behind it. Man, that was intense, Horatio says, a hand on his chest. You both sit for a moment, each trying to catch your breath. Hey, let's go back and see if he's still there, Horatio says. Where for? Let's go back and check out the ghost again. Don't freak out, but right now you're staring cold in the face of a specter. Can't even imagine. Oh, that's nice. We're back here. Well, we came back, so let's stare at him intently and black out as our mind shuts down. You stare at the ghost intently, and your brain shuts down, and you collapse unconscious. Surprise? You are now the ghost. Before you use the unconscious body of your son, Hamlet. Looks like he may have tripped too many balls. Yes, that's definitely what happened. There were a lot of balls lying around, and Hamlet tripped on one too many of them. Man, I can't believe I left my marble collection out here on the battlements. Maybe several. Bottom line, too many balls were definitely tripped right here. You expected more from your son than this. To be precise, you expected to be able to tell him that you were murdered by your brother and that he should, oh, I don't know, revenge your death? Instead, you're staring at a dude you can't even touch. You stick a finger inside Hamlet's head, thinking that maybe if you touch his brain, he'll wake up. But brains don't work that way. At least not with immaterial fingers made out of ectoplasm or whatever. And you don't make your finger solid, which is good, because that definitely would have killed him. But now... I mean, Horatio's around, right? Should we tell Horatio about it and just get him to talk about it later on? I don't have time for my son being out cold. Or just, you know what, I'm a ghost. I have time. I'm having my son do my revenge for me. I got all the time in the world. You sit down and wait for him to wake up. You're a ghost. You have all the time in the world. See, me and Game are on the same page. After a few moments, you look up and see Hamlet's friend Horatio standing beside you. He's staring at you, a little too intently, and then he passes out too. Oh, so there's just two unconscious guys here. Terrific. Eventually, the sun starts to come up and nobody can see you anymore. You stick around though, and soon Hamlet and Horatio wake up, rubbing their eyes in the early morning sunlight. Whoa, says Hamlet. Did you have the same crazy ghost dream that I did? I did, said Horatio. Oh my gosh, it was so spooky. Oh no. You think. Hamlet and his friend are stupid dudes. They go back and forth, excitedly discussing their dream with each other. You sigh and start thinking. Here's what you think. You think, hey, I'm a ghost now. You think, hey, I can travel the world for free. I don't need to worry about being hungry. I can see what happens to Denmark in the future. Heck, I can see what happens to the world in the future. You think, maybe life's too short for revenge. Maybe. Maybe even an immortal afterlife is too short for revenge. You think about this a great opportunity to learn all you can about the world around you. And you think that Earth ever gets boring, all you have to do is float up to the moon and see what's there. Also, there are ghost beasts from Earth's prehistoric past all over the place. And there's something that looks like an enormous but friendly building-sized lizard munching on trees over that hill. Yo, it's Littlefoot, Pog. Can I get a Pog in chat for Littlefoot? It's kind of hard to be focused on what revenge is when A, you're already dead, and B, you could be taming dinosaurs and riding them across the universe. So that's what you do. Oh, okay. Many years later, when you look back on it all, you have precisely this many regrets. None. The end. Oh. Okay. We went from exploring the ocean to all of a sudden there just being ghost dinosaurs everywhere. Nice. Hey, piece of artwork. I'm curious where we landed on the Hamlet meter. We did make a lot of choices. Ah, balls. I love Hamlet's fast as fuck boy picture right here. It's truly magical. We made 12 choices. And that's it. Let's go back to meeting the ghost. Alright. Let's not stare at the ghost too intently. Let's figure out what he wants. Are you my dad? I mean, my ghost dad? You ask the ghost, but it says nothing. Instead, the ghost beckons to you. He clearly wants you to follow him and leave Horatio behind. I don't know. Is this safe? Can ghosts kill people? Can ghosts kill people? You ask Horatio. I don't know, man, but I really don't think you should go alone with that thing, he says, clearly leaving no ball untripped in his own freak out. Yo, we all gotta stop tripping balls. It's just my ghost dad. Hamlet, man, something is rotten in the state of Denmark, I gotta say, he yells, his quivering finger pointing at the ghost. Well, duh. I'm gonna do it, you say, and you... go on to say, by that I mean I'm going to take this last chance to run for it. Ugh. But I think if I do the run for it option, it's going to loop me back to the boulder scene. So I'm going to follow the ghost. You follow the ghost into the mist. After walking for what seems like forever, you get tired of walking. I'm tired of walking, you say. You sit down. Pretty sure I'm done walking. Yep. Yeah, I'm out. The ghost stops and speaks to you for the first time, its voice issuing forth from lungs that no longer breathe air. Hamlet, it is I, your father. Look, I cannot stay around here forever, so you need to listen to what I tell you. It's actually, like, kind of wholesome music. I didn't die of old age. I did some digging around, and it turns out I was murdered by Claudius. Bum bum bum. Yeah, it was really awkward how I got this information. I took a shopping list in Danish to this Norwegian lady who spoke Danish, and she told me everything that happened, and then I walked around the ocean floor for a while, and then that's how I got here. You gasp! Shocked and enraged. Killed by his own brother? He did it while I slept. I was walking in a garden. You know how gardens are really boring, right? You nod. They're boring, even for people who like them. Exactly, says Ghost Dad. Well, it was so boring I fell asleep, and while I was sleeping, he poured poison in my ear. I didn't know poisons work that way, you say? That's what I said, shouts your dad, throwing his hands above his head in frustration. He starts to pace back and forth. Anyway, I want you to take revenge on him for me. I don't know, cuss him out or something. Pull out his chair when he's about to sit down. Dude, classic. Our dad is a fucking meme lord. Offer him a high five, but then when he goes to high five you, pull your hand away and say too slow. Or should he offer you a high five, that you must leave him hanging. Goes, Dad, I know he murdered you and all, but don't you think there's lines that you just don't cross? I could murder him, you offer. After all, he is sleeping with Mom. Your dad stops pacing and stares at you. He's what? It's just a prank, bro. Uh, uh, it's just a prank, bro. Uh, just kidding, you say? Oh, phew, says your dad. That's good. If that had been the case, then I would have demanded that you murder Claudius at once. That way he could be a ghost too, and I could sit down with him and ask him why he thought what he did was appropriate. And after hearing his responses, hopefully we could come to some understanding. He sighs wistfully. It would be nice to be able to do that now, rather than having to wait until decades from now when he dies of natural causes. Good news, you say. Tell Dad they actually did get married. Hit him with the reverse psych. You say they got married basically right after the funeral, and that makes Claudius king now. You explain how maybe it's not technically incest, but the timing alone sure feels kind of squicky. Kind of, ugh. Didn't he ever read the table of kindred and affinity, wherein whosoever are related are forbidden in scripture and our laws to marry together? Asks your dad. Uh, you say. You refer to the document Queen Elizabeth ordered produced, which says a marriage such as this one we're discussing is not just squicky, but a real life hardcore sin against God, a book which later made its way into the Book of Common Prayer, itself so influential that we take many phrases such as "till death do us part" and "peace in our time" from it. The very same, nods your father. Although I can imagine that in the future, sentiments might change as to whether or not such a marriage between genetically unrelated, loving, and consenting adults is among the very worst things it is possible for a human being to do. Uh, King Hamlet, it is the year 2020, and some people still don't like when certain consenting adults end up marrying. That's not necessary for us to discuss right now. You agree. Anyway, says your dad, kill Claudius for me, cool? Promise a ghost you'll commit murder, or promise a ghost you'll commit murder in the classiest verse you can come up with. I mean, fuck it, we rapped earlier. Let's do it. You clear your throat, hold one hand open in the air in front of you, promise a ghost that you will kill an alive human. This is what you say. Is it gonna give us iambic? Oh god, I need to clear my throat for this. I'm gonna deliver these lines in like 2 years. Yea, from the table of my memory I'll wipe away all trivial fond records, all saws of books, all forms, all pressures past that youth and observation copied there, and thy commandment all alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain, unmixed with baser matter. Yes, by heaven! Your ghost dad seems pretty cool with that. Hey, new quest, kill Claudius, worth 3,500 EXP. That's a lot. What will we do? Throw in a little sexism for good measure, or leave it there and return to Horatio. I mean... we have to, right? Uh, Twitch, I just want to say that anything I say in this choose your own adventure game doesn't necessarily reflect my own views, but a little sexism never hurt anyone. Oh, most pernicious woman, you add, insulting not only Queen Gertrude, the woman your father adored, loved, and married, but also all women in general. Science Corner! Is that Ophelia? With like A floaty? Oh, and then the little Macbeth logo there too. That's cute. I like this Ophelia slide right here. This is really cute. Synonyms for pernicious include noxious and pestilent, and the word itself suggests that long-term harm comes from being in contact with whatever it's being used to describe. I'm gonna take a screenshot of that. Not because I need to know what it means, but I kind of want it as, yeah. Stay classy, Hamlet. Let's leave it there and return to Horatio. You walk back to Horatio's waiting for you. Listen, Horatio, never speak of this whole "we totally saw a ghost" thing, okay? You've got to keep it a secret. That's cool, says Horatio. No, I'm serious, man, you say, grabbing his shoulders. Some really serious stuff is gonna go down, and I need you to keep this a secret. Swear that you'll never talk about this. I swear, says Horatio. Swear it, booms your dad's voice out of nowhere. Yo, that's Ralph. Ralph coming in. He already did, you shout. Horatio looks at you questioning. Hamlet? Bro? What's this all about? He says. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, you begin. Than are dreamt of in my philosophy, Horatio finishes, annoyed. Fine. Right. Whatever. Okay. Horatio will keep your secret, and you got a quest from a ghost to fulfill. And at the end, he'll probably give you some cool loot for completing it. Maybe? I mean, it's possible. Anyway, it's past midnight, and Claudius is probably falling down drunk. What now? Go home for nappy times? Or say goodbye to Horatio and go kill Claudius? Do I have a new checkpoint? I don't. It's a long sequence to repeat. But also, let's go home for nappy times. You go home and nap. The next morning it rains, so you don't leave your room. And then the next morning after that, the ground's all muddy, and you think maybe you'd leave footsteps that could be traced back to you. And anyway, long story short, several days have gone by, and you haven't done a thing. Oh, this is Hamlet. Wherefore, to continue doing nothing for another several days, return to the top of this page and read it again. Well, that's enough. Time to go murder Claudius. Go see Ophelia. She's smart. Maybe she has some ideas on how to commit some good murders. I mean, oh, that's fun. That's funny. You can just do that and just loop. You know what? My girl Ophelia is a little crazy. Let's go see her. Maybe she knows what to do. You go to Ophelia's place and knock on her door. Who is it? She calls. It's me, sweetie, you say, opening the door and stepping into her room. You haven't seen each other for a while. It's so great to see her. You run up and throw your arms around her and you kiss. It's just like old times. You hold her at arm's length and look into her eyes. Listen, you say, and then you go murder Claudius. Is every single choice from here on gonna have a go murder Claudius option? That's incredible. I hope that's the case. Go on to say I need your help with something, or unbutton your jacket, foul your stockings, take your garters off, and grab Ophelia by the wrist. Did it give me a checkpoint for the accepting the quest? It didn't? Look, I know why I came here. I need to get my girl on my back. I need your help with something. You explain to her about how your dad and the ghost and how he wants you to murder Claudius. Ophelia looks at you for a long moment and then she takes your hand. Sweetie, she says, I can tell that you think you saw those things, and for now I'm going to believe you. But we need to gather evidence of this ghost and find out if he's credible. Even if he is a ghost, are we certain he is the ghost of your dad? What if he's a ghost of someone else who's trying to mess with you? I think you should have some confirmation before you go around murdering people. What she says makes sense. She says the two of you can try to see the ghost again tonight, and if he does show up, you can figure out if he's really your dad or not. It sounds really nice. It sounds sane. You agree to go with her. In the meantime, she says, check out what I've been working on for you. It's alcohol and a glass flute. She looks at you for your reaction, and you're not sure what you're looking at. It measures temperature, she says. With this, you don't have to be too cold or too warm in different castle rooms, because we'll be able to see which ones are uncomfortable before we go in them. Yo, my girl Ophelia invented the thermometer. Big pog. She's been working on this all by herself over the past several weeks, while you've been sitting alone in your room, moping. She's so awesome. You love her more than ever. Wherefore? Yo, we get to go on a ghost date with Ophelia? Evening comes, and you lead Ophelia to the spot outside where you first saw the ghost. We have to wait till around midnight, you say. I think that's when he normally shows up. To pass the time, Ophelia suggests you play a storytelling game, where she says one word of a story and you say the next word, and neither of you knows where the story will go. Improv exercises. Really building relationships. Once, she begins. Upon, you say. She says. Time, you say. There was a beautiful, you say, looking at her. She smiles. Prince, she replies, and you smile back. Who wanted to kiss his girlfriend, you say. That's cheating, she says, but you're already smooching. You begin to get really into making out. Oh god, Monka TOS. I mean, it makes sense that a Shakespeare play is kind of horny, but like, interesting. Yeah, make out for a while. You make out for what turns out to be quite a while, as the night is warm and the stars are stunning, and there are no bugs here to bite any exposed flesh, and before you know it, you've totally made out as much as it's possible to totally make out. Nice. And you fall asleep in each other's arms. If ghosts exist, and if one really did show up, he certainly had the good grace to leave you alone for your makeouts. Also, he was probably embarrassed. You were both way naked. The two of you return to the same spot the next evening and the evenings after that, but it becomes more and more a date night, and less a specter from beyond the grave wants to get some murders done thing. King Claudius and Polonius aren't not exactly thrilled with the two of you being together, but on the flip side, any urges to commit regicide that were floating around have begun to fade too. Although you talk about it often, the whole encounter with the ghost, if it really did happen, takes on the quantity of a dream. Rather than do the long distance thing again, you decide to move in together and get your own place here in Denmark. Together, the two of you work on finalizing the invention of the alcohol thermometer. It works. And even figure out the other half of it, a way to move heated air throughout a building. Congratulations! You invented central heating. It's an invention that all of Denmark wants, and most are willing to pay for. While it's not the largest, you do live in a most comfortable estate in the entire country, thanks to the heating money. One bright summer day, As the two of you walk through the castle garden, you get down on one knee and say, "Sweetie, you're the most important person in my life, and I can't imagine ever living without you. I want to make you as happy as you make me every single day. Let's get married. You mean every word." It's not the most traditional proposal in the world, nor is it the most traditional wedding, but it's wonderful and beautiful and perfect. You're very happy. You don't invite Claudius to the wedding. A few years later, Claudius falls ill with some sort of lung disease, and his doctors are unable to treat it effectively. He passes away only a few months later, having never produced an heir. Shortly after, the two of you become the new king and queen of all of Denmark. Your first child, Alex Hamlet, is born 5 months later, and you all live very happily ever after. Oh, that's cute. Hang on, I'm just making sure I have the images saved I want. Found a piece of artwork. Let's see where we're at. Oh, we're still not to be. We've napped once. We misused poison once. 13 choices. I was once. I was not 0 times. We have to go meet our ghost dad again. Blah, 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 blah. What is promisable without the cheesy verse? You clear your throat, tilt your head, put on a grin, and give your dad a double thumbs up. "I promise I'ma kill him," you say. Your dad seems satisfied. That's pretty good. Let's leave it there. So we went home for nappy naps last time, so let's just go and kill him. You wait until it's 2 a.m., planning to sneak into Claudius's room and give him the old stabby stab, but on your way there, you find him passed out in the hallway. There's a bottle of booze in his hands. He really is a cartoon drunk. This is gonna be real easy. You hold your hand over his mouth so that he can't scream and slit his throat, and he's dead within the minute. Ta-da! You leave quietly, making sure not to be seen, and head down to the shore to wash your blood-soaked hands and your blood-soaked clothes. The ocean water cleans off the blood quickly, which is great because you heard it was hard to get out damned blood spots. Shout out to that Macbeth reference. Turns out, no, it's actually really easy. You're glad you stayed cool and rational and didn't freak out at all during this process. Good job, champ. You walk home in your wet clothes, change into adorable pajamas, get into bed, and fall asleep. Content in the knowledge that you were right to murder a dude and that you even had supernatural forces on your side, your dreams are genuinely peaceful. There's some sex stuff in there too, but whatever, man. It happens. Don't even worry about it. It's honestly not a big deal. In the morning, you act super surprised that Claudius got killed to death. What? You say, waving your hands in the air. Come to think of it, that was probably a little much, but everyone bought it, so whew. And then later you become king. And check it, your economic policies are both wise and fair, and your country becomes way prosperous. Due to economics not being a zero-sum game, you not only make the lives of your subjects better, but you actually improve the lives of those that they trade with. Hamlet, you've literally made the world a better place. Nice. And all you had to do was kill a human being. The end. P.S. Oh, I meant to mention it sooner, but one day you step on a butterfly that has the cascade effect of preventing not one, but 2 worldwide wars from occurring centuries down the line. So good job all around, I'd say. Keep on killing everyone who interferes with your preferred version of history, I'd say. Congrats. You were really terrific at being Hamlet. The end for real. Magical. Absolutely incredible. Let's see where we're at. We're probably gonna be not. We're probably gonna not to be. Yep. Game over. Alright. I'm gonna set it up here. And I think I'm gonna call it for the stream. Thanks everyone who decided to pop in. That was it was really nice for all you to do that, especially A, for my first stream, and B, for something kind of weird like this. I thought it was funny. I think it's actually a really interesting game. Uh, although it's less of a game and more of just a book, but I think the way it plays with the Hamlet story is really fun, and next time I stream, I'm definitely looking forward to diving more into this, since we now have our quest to kill Claudius, and we've seen a couple futures that weren't in line with the main story. Can't believe me banning that bot was an hour ago. What's our uptime? I can't see it from mod view, but it is what it is. Oh, I can see it right here. Hour 54. 2 hours. Not terrible. Alright, everyone. Thank you so much for coming in. It was real fun. And until next time, see you soon.